Coming up on This Week in Cars, we see the new A6, a Chevy Volt built in 2 minutes, and Jim Trainor is going to tell us all of Hyundai's secrets. Hello and welcome to This Week in Cars. I'm Jonathan RAMSEY, here with my lovely co-host, Crystal Stranger.
Hi, Jonathan. Welcome to This Week in Cars. You can follow us on Twitter at, what is it? I don't even know this. Twitter at TWI Cars. And thank you.
Twitter at TWI Cars. You can also email us at cars@thisweekend.com. We are on Ustream.tv. And okay, we are, though, here with another special guest, a man by the name of Jim Trainor, who is with Hyundai. And we are going to start with him. Welcome to the show, Jim.
It's great to be here.
So Hyundai's had a lot of things coming out lately. What we're going to do is first look at your Asterisk campaign. The new Hyundai Elantra has come out. It gets 40 miles per gallon without needing any special trim, nothing else. So Hyundai has been making hay with that, and they have a new campaign that's come out called Save the Asterisks. Let's play that video.
We at Hyundai Motor America want to call the nation's attention to the senseless waste and needless overuse of resources. The public is being confused by asterisks attached to fuel economy claims. All the world's asterisks are being used up needlessly. At the pace the industry is on, our children and grandchildren may not have any asterisks left by the time they grow up. While some manufacturers build limited edition special fuel economy models, Hyundai Motor America has a better idea. Why not make all Elantras achieve 40 miles per gallon? 100% of Elantras we build will deliver 40 miles per gallon on the highway. No asterisks. So won't you do your part and help end this senseless waste of asterisks?
All right, so Hyundai's a friend of the asterisk, but before we get into that, why don't you just tell us what's Hyundai got going on now?
Well, you know, it's been a really busy year for us. We started out at the beginning of the year launching the new Tucson, done very good things for us in the CUV segment. Follow that in February at the launch of the Sonata, and you probably know that that's been a pretty big success for us. We launched the turbo and hybrid version of those cars this fall. Launched Equus to journalists in August, and Equises are arriving in dealerships now. So it's been a pretty big year, and at the LA Auto Show a couple weeks ago, we introduced Elantra. And, you know, the Asterisk campaign, you know, it's a lighthearted approach to something that, you know, is fairly serious, to be honest with you. And we've been a little put off by some of the claims that we've seen from our competitors on the 40 MPG, because 40 is a threshold, right? It's a big hurdle. It's the new 30, all those kinds of things, right? Yeah. And Elantra gets it in GLS.
No, when you say put off by the claims, what do you mean by that?
Well, they're a little phony. And when you advertise a vehicle getting 40 miles per gallon, it should get that. That's not asking a lot, is it? And whether it's automatic, manual, whatever trim package. So we saw some competitors claiming 40 MPG for their new vehicles, and not all of them get 40. They might get 37, 36, and we're 40 across the board.
Okay, now how is it that Hyundai has been able to reach 40 across the board when everyone else hasn't been able to?
Yeah, you know, it's just good engineering, to be honest with you. And one of the things we're especially proud of is the weight savings that we've seen in all of our recently launched vehicles. You know, just the engine in the new Elantra is 64 pounds less than the old Elantra.
Wow.
So we get a lot of, we get a lot of gain just from, the increase in MPG with weight savings.
Now, does that come at the price of, say, technology, like those others? One of them might have direct injection, whereas the Hyundai doesn't.
Yeah, and DI in the base Sonata has helped a lot, and it really is probably the number one item that gets us to 35 mpg with a car like Sonata. We don't have direct injection in Elantra, but as we continue to get even more fuel economy out of our engines, you might see that more widely used.
And why not now? Is that about price?
It's about price, yeah, definitely. That's what it is now. This car, starts around $15,000, and that's important for a subcompact car. It's a car that's a first-time purchase for a lot of people. Young folks come to it, or it's a second car for a lot of people. It's a pretty price-sensitive segment of the market.
Now, go ahead.
Well, this whole price-sensitive thing for the fuel economy seems backwards of how it used to be. It used to be the cheapest cars on the market were the ones that get the best fuel economy. Now everyone is charging a premium to get better fuel economy. What do you think of this trend?
Well, I think in part of it's kind of silly, and it's one of our beasts with the whole Asterisk campaign is two recently launched products by our competitors. You can pay over $2,000 more to get their special fuel economy package, and that doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
And we don't go there, and we think because it's such a vital reason to buy in this segment, that why burden the buyer anymore when we know how important that price point is. So we think it should be a price that's fair and not something that's extra to get you the fuel economy.
Everyone's equal. You love all your children equally.
Yes, on most days.
On most days. And so the federal government's talking about raising CAFE standards to 60 miles a gallon. Yeah. Hyundai, the CEO, John Craftschick, came out and said that might be a little much, but 50 miles per gallon seems doable by 2025.
Yeah, and John came out at the management briefing seminars in Traverse City in early August and said that we could get to the 50 level, 50 plus level.
Even internally, he's saying 50 plus.
50 plus by 2025, and he's trying to make an important distinction between EPA sticker numbers on cars and the CAFE number, because 40 on Elantra, for example, which is the EPA sticker number, really equates to more like 44 point something.
Two different formulas.
Yeah, two different formulas. So a lot of people are hung up on the sticker. That's what we all see. That's the easiest reference point. But when you start thinking that Elantra, without direct injection, without some of the other tricks that we have up our sleeve, you start thinking, well, there's a car in 2010 that's getting 44 plus. Maybe that 50 isn't so crazy after all. We'll have 4 cars in our lineup next year. They get 40 plus already. So we're well on our way.
And you think that's across the line, not just one car meeting the CAFE standard?
Yeah, and you know what, Jonathan? It's cars that sell in some volume. Right. This isn't any kind of science experiment for a 10,000 unit sale vehicle. We'll sell, we think, more than 200,000 cars next year that get 40 plus MPG. We'll have our Sonata hybrid, we'll have Elantra, we'll have our new Veloster, and we've got an Accent coming next year too. So we've got 4 coming pretty quickly.
And what does this do to the price of the cars, though?
I mean, the added fuel economy comes with the car.
To get to 50 miles per gallon, sorry, what is that?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to have to come somewhere, and to add, and we've talked about DI quite a bit already, it's going to...
we talk about, say, $5,000, $10,000, as an Accent now, 30 grand.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, when we have the Accent come later this year, it'll be in the low 40s, and it'll be priced, a tad higher.
The low 40s gas mileage.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, MPG.
My God.
MPG. Dollar-wise, probably not going to be a lot more than what it is today, but down the road, certainly that'll be a factor.
Well, also that kind of technology becomes cheaper over time, usually, as you implement it more and more, find better ways of doing it.
You're right, and that's what we've seen in a lot of tech fields. So maybe that'll apply to cars too. But we'll have to see. It's not it's not a cheap thing.
So let's talk about actually using some gas.
Yes.
When is the Genesis Coupe going to get more power, like a lot more power? Maybe even a 5.0 liter V8.
Yeah, I think that was the first thought any enthusiast had when we announced a little earlier that the 5-liter would be coming in Genesis.
Sorry, in case you
Equus.
don't know, Hyundai has a new 5-liter V8 coming out with 429 horsepower, 376 pound-feet.
Yes, I think you're right. Wow,
429, 376, and everybody wants it to go in the Genesis Coupe because that's where it needs to be. And why can't we have it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a car you'll ever see for sale, but I think you might find some people trying to shoehorn that thing in there just to see what we can do. We're already talking about when we might show it, say at a SEMA event next year, or when we might have one to play with. But it's a lot of engine for that car. I'm driving one now. 306 horsepower. Is pretty fun. But that would be a lot of fun.
I mean, it would be. That
why
sounds pretty
not
wild.
with the, I think Hyundai says that they are people cross-shopping the Genesis Coupe with the Z, but if read the comments and boards, everyone still puts it in the Mustang and Camaro group. Yeah,
I don't think that's a bad place for us. Our first attempt at a rear-wheel drive sports car like this. So I think you come in at that level, and maybe a little more performance could get us to the to the next step.
But is this if you guys get the right reaction, we might see one, or don't ever really expect to see?
Well, we like to say never say never. So I think I'll stick to that right now. Okay. But there, we're just talking about fuel economy and CAFE and EPA numbers. So all that comes into consideration. We just hope that there's not a time where all the fun is taken out of driving.
So more fun at the low end then. Tell us about the Veloster. Now we have a picture of this car, just a spy shot for the moment, which is a kind of an odd-looking thing.
Well, it won't come with that black cover.
Really?
No,
okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
I thought that was supposed to be dressed
that
up
might
around
help.
the street.
Yeah, that's the winter cover version. No, we're going to introduce it at the Detroit Auto Show in probably around January 10th. So we'll show it then for the first time.
What's the competition for this car?
Mazda 3. Kind of, but I don't want to say too much because there's some things about this car that are going to surprise everyone when we reveal it.
Well, no one's watching now, so you can tell us here.
It's an online show. We'll keep your secret safe. Nobody's going to tell.
No, I do want to keep the cat in the bag a little bit, but there's going to be some pretty cool features on this car. It's going to really help us get to kind of the Gen Y younger crowd that we want to reach.
In the way that I guess the Accent and the others aren't doing now.
More fun. Fun. It'll
42 miles per gallon?
Yeah, that's what we're estimating right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's been mentioned a lot with the CRZ in terms of beating that car, sort of fuel economy and fun and room.
Yeah, I drove the CRZ a couple weeks ago. Took it home twice after work, and that's a hybrid.
Oh, so you guys have bought one?
I don't know if we bought it, but we had somebody drop the keys off at my desk. And I guess I need to drive this.
Okay.
But that's a hybrid that doesn't approach what we're going to get with internal combustion gasoline engine. So I think they're going to be you could put those two together. Yeah, that's another good example.
All right, and then last up, the Azera is also coming. When should we expect to see that? We have a picture of a rendering that Hyundai put out recently, and it looks like a smaller Equus. Is what it strikes me as. And
I have to tell you, I've seen photos from our parent in Seoul of the interior, and there's the exterior now. It looks pretty neat, and we just released some interior shots today, so those will be making the rounds on the
on the webs
in the next couple of days. So that car, with the Accent coming, and Veloster, and then Azera's freshening, there's still a lot more in store in 2011. So a lot of work for me. I got to launch all these cars.
Last question: the Equus. What do you have sales numbers for that? What do you expect that to do, and do you really expect that to take sales from, say, the big German 3?
Well, I think we're in a really good spot with it because we've been saying 2,000 to 3,000 sales. And we've got a pretty awesome dealer network out there now where we've hand selected. I think we're about 240, 250 dealers now to sell that car. They've had to meet some criteria to sell that car. They had to, design an area in their dealership that was Equus only. Some other levels they had to attain, and I think those dealers will knock it out of the park. So the Equus is arriving in dealerships right now.
You'd mentioned one of the first one that's going to be available is going to be auctioned off to charity, right?
Yeah, one of our dealers down in Florida bought he wanted to get the first VIN and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity, and he'll be delivering that car to the customer, I think this week, in fact.
Excellent.
So,
it's already been auctioned off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So got just about the price of the vehicle, and that went to charity, and kind of a cool thing. So we think LS460 and S-Class are, I think if you're looking for a smart purchase and you're not so concerned about the badge on the front of the car, this might appeal to you.
All right. Well,
was that 15 minutes?
That was
too much fun.
We're already done with Jim Trainor from Hyundai, but don't go anywhere because we're going to talk to you later on in the show. Now we're going to move to our news segment, and we're going to start off with a bunch of cars that have been revealed, including the new Mercedes SLK.
Yeah, So that was for a French commercial. The new SLS has a lot of the SLK-inspired designs in it, including the Magic Sky Control roof, the sun-reflecting leather seats, which is pretty cool, and the draft guard system integrated into the roll bars. That'll be a pretty fun car, I think.
It should be pretty good. I think the roof has been the big deal with this sort of tinting in the sun and then going clear when it's out. But it's a good-looking car, and
it looked very cool in the video, too, when they pulled it back down. You have to watch the whole video. It's very interesting.
That video is 10 minutes long. It's footage for a French commercial to show off the features of the car. So on our site at thisweekend.com, you can check the whole thing out.
Yeah, we'll post a link for the video later so you can come back and check it out.
Also revealed this week is the new Audi A6. This will be coming out next year. It is lighter than the car it replaces, and we have a video of some running footage of the car in Germany. Let's check that out. 5 engines. It comes in a hybrid version as well. It looks a lot more A8 than A4, which I was very pleased about because with Audi's recent design direction and all the cars coming out, things are starting to get very confused. So I think they did a good job. And Jim here is nodding his head as well.
That's one of my favorite cars.
The A6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, love it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
I love the whole Audi line this year. I mean, their cars are just superb. They're all like very well engineered, beautiful.
Audi's been doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
And being able to see around your car.
Oh, yes. The next thing is the feds are proposing by 2014 to make it mandatory that all vehicles will have side and rear view cameras installed, which is very interesting. I think we have some photos here from this. They estimate that 338 deaths and 17,000 injuries every year are caused by people getting run over by cars because they're being backed over, and that most deaths are children under 5. And they think by installing these cameras, it'll cut the deaths in half.
This is a picture of Nissan's around view system that they have on their cars now. That's a vanity picture, but they have it on their Rogue and some of their CUVs. There are 4 cameras, 1 in the front, 2 on the mirrors, the side mirrors, and 1 in back. And you know, that's a 360-degree view. The feds are just saying
they're mandating 180 degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be expensive, though. They're saying it might be $2.7 billion to get all of these cars outfitted with their 180-degree cameras.
Yeah.
But it's just a proposal right now. We don't know that's going to happen, but it's something they have in mind to save kids.
It's very soon, 2014. What do you think about that?
Well, it's available on our Elantra, on our limited version, and it's interesting to see now because on that class of car, that size of car, it's still pretty unusual. And I was just noting some of the reaction today for the embargo lift on Elantra Ride and Drive stories today, and reading some of the journalist reviews already. And at the same time, the government was saying by 2014 this is going to be mandated. A lot of people are saying, "Do you really need this on a small car?" So I don't know. Got to weigh the two. And I mean, anything we do for
like
safety,
mostly they'll meet up.
Yeah.
And, 2015, everyone will be happy that it's there.
Maybe it's a certain size or style or size car first, and it.
Yeah.
Something like that. So.
And then the Chrysler 300 has been officially released. The pictures of the new 300 have been released by Chrysler. We have a few of those. It looks really just like it did when we had spy shots a little bit ago, but now it's just official. This is your new 300. Slightly less cartoonish, a bit more rake, not so much Dick Tracy, but a good-looking car. It's just still have that panache that they wanted. And when we see it in person and see the inside, Chrysler said they wanted to take this car upscale, a bit more distinctive than the car they had before. So
well, it looks better than what else they've released so far this year. So maybe this will be the car that saves Chrysler again.
This could be. It did.
The next Cordoba.
This is. But please don't let it be that.
I will do no Ricardo Montalban.
Thank you. Yeah, no, none of that. Next up, we're going to get into racing and what's been happening on the track. First up, the Ford Focus is retiring from the World Rally Championship this year. It gets replaced by the Fiesta next year. Ken Block will be driving that again. And Ford put together a video to show off all the folks who've been in the driver's seat, including Gronholm, Carlos Sainz, Colin McRae, and others, and we have a clip of their video. Just commenting that the Fiesta, actually Jim brought up that the Fiesta seems a little small to go rallying, but next year you've got Mini and their countrymen will be rallying. There'll be Ford and its Fiesta, and then one other maker with a tiny car, Citroen and the DS3. So everything is downsizing everywhere.
We may have something to announce early in the year on the racing front. Reese Miller has been drifting for us, and we've been pretty successful with the Genesis Coupe and that. And we may have something more to talk about at a later date.
And you don't want to practice your announcement
right
now?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't. Thanks for asking, though.
Still with Ford, but racing in a straight line is the new Cobrajet.
Yep. Next up, we have the 2012 Mustang Cobrajet. The details of this have been leaked. It was leaked in a Puerto Rican Ford dealer's website. There's a revised 430 horsepower, 5.4-liter supercharged engine, and there's way different specs than the 2008-10 model. And let's see, we have a three-speed C4 auto race transmission, 9-inch rear axle with 429/1 axle ratio, and estimated weight of 3,200 pounds, which sounds a lot better than the 4,000-pound Camaro.
Yeah.
My gosh, yeah.
And then for $10,000 extra, you can get the 4-liter Whipple supercharger for like 800 and some horsepower and 8-second quarter miles.
Crazy. That's insanity. That's scary.
Still
actually.
Not better than the Chrysler Drag Pack for my co-host Crystal, but it'll do if she has to. If they make you take one,
I like the Drag Pack because it just captures the essence of drag racing more, where it's really stripped down, lightweight, everything manual.
Well, I mean, that's got 3-speed transmission and.
Yeah. No, it's more that way. Definitely. I mean, this actually is maybe even more so. I don't know.
But you'll still take a Challenger, just.
I'm still a Mopar girl
okay.
in my heart.
Formula One is changing its engine regulations again. So. Right now we have 3.4-liter naturally aspirated V8s. The World Motorsport Council is expected to approve this Friday. In 2013, going to 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinders. Now, F1 hasn't seen turbos since 1988. They were banned in the '89 season. But they're coming back because Formula One wants to go green, wants people to say, hey, we can make this more popular. If they see it in Formula One, maybe car makers like Hyundai will put small displacement turbos, but you already have them in your Sonata, from what I hear. So that is coming up, and I like the idea of it, sort of Formula One going green, but it sounds more like a spec series to me to have Formula One now with someone else making engines, and the restrictions they're going to have to put in place, the monitoring they have to do with the teams. I mean, this is NASCAR, but open wheeler is what it's feeling like to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it myself, but we'll see what happens in 2013.
Well, it seems like we're getting more and more crossover between all the racing divisions. With German touring cars coming over here.
Yeah.
And some of the, all the drivers are jumping all over the place these days. Like in our next story, where Jacques Villeneuve is joining the Andros Trophy Ice Racing Series, which is pretty interesting. I believe we have a pretty good video about this. With, maybe not. Anyway, he tried NASCAR. He's getting back into Formula One. Now going ice racing with Skoda. And the teammate will be Bar Honda Formula One teammate Oliver Panis.
Yeah, Olivier Panis was his teammate at BR Honda. He's going to be racing with him in the Andros Trophy in a Skoda. We have a picture of Jacques Villeneuve, in case you don't remember who he is, since he hasn't been around for a while. NASCAR, everywhere else. Tried to get back into Formula One this year, couldn't do it. But he's going to be racing with Alain Prost, who is also at 50 years old, ice racing. And now we have that video.
Bringing Bertrand Panis with him. What a brilliant battle it has been, irrespective of who ends up on top of this one.
So that's what he'll be doing, and I'm sure we haven't heard the last of Jacques Villeneuve trying to get out of the ice at some point and into a warmer racing series. But that's where you can find him next year.
That ice racing looks like a lot of fun, though, for sure.
Who doesn't like sliding around?
I know,
everyone can drift on ice.
I'm waiting to see all the drifters start getting into ice racing, too, right? It looks like the same kind of skills right there. It's pretty amazing.
Next up, we're going to move into our strap-in segment where we talk about the future of automobiles. Not what happens next month or next year, but 10, 50, 100 years from now. What's the car world going to be? This time, we're talking about the future of electric batteries. So electric cars and hybrid cars use huge battery packs. Hybrid cars not so big. Electric cars quite large. The Tesla has a 1,000-pound battery pack. And everybody wants to know what's going to happen to those. Well, car makers are joining with huge industries, Duke Energy, Sumitomo, Fuji Heavy Industries, big companies, to figure out what are we going to do with these batteries. And the big thing is about repurposing them for battery storage. So things like wind farms,
interesting,
wind farms, electricity grids, sort of grid management. And a lot of money is being spent because when the battery gets below, say, 80%, it can't power the car to full power, but you still got this capacity you can use.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? Now, since we have Jim Trainor here, we're going to ask him, Hyundai's got, and Kia have hybrids coming out. Have you begun the discussion about what you're going to do with the batteries when they're done?
I suppose our engineers at the their parent in Seoul. I'm not very well versed in that. I mean, we're working on plugins. We'll have test fleets here in a few years. Fuel cells, in fact, as well. But on battery disposal, I mean, it's a huge issue. I just don't. I just don't know where we're headed with that.
You guys, though, are focused on the internal combustion engine now. So why do you think that battery power will be a big deal ever?
I think by 2025, ICE will still be the primary means of powering vehicles, but the resources are finite, and we need to be looking for alternatives, whatever they might be, and it could be something entirely different. I mean, batteries have so many limitations, not just disposal, but cost and weight and the materials that go into them, and could very well be that it's something else. But we're pretty big proponents of gasoline engines for the next decade or two.
So everyone else who is getting into the Nissan Leaf, the Volt, the Tesla, and that in about 10, 15 years are going to be a lot of batteries
I was
that
really,
need to go somewhere.
I was really surprised when I was researching this. I saw that Tesla can only recycle 60% of their batteries that they use.
Which is not a bad number, really.
No, but I thought it would be higher than that
Right.
from all the technology and finance, that they've invested into this.
And that would still leave, 25% of the pack that has to go to the landfill.
Yeah.
It was like 60 to 70%
It was like 60% plus 10% can be reused to make new
right.
ones. So that still is like 30% left over. And that's probably some kind of hazardous waste, I would imagine.
That's stuff, the plastics and things you can't put anywhere else. So that's what they're saying, instead of really trying to figure out what to do with them, why don't we move them into, your home? Businesses, hospitals need backup storage for generators and that. Why don't we put them there? But
I mean, also, it sounds like the cost still to be able to repurpose these is beyond what the usefulness of them would be, from what they're saying.
That's the question now. I think everyone's going to try and figure out. They say it'll be about 10 years before we have to deal with sort of large amounts of batteries piling up.
Well, yeah, they're just going to wait till we have to deal with it, and the government puts out subsidies. Like, okay, if you can figure out a way to deal with this, then we'll give you money to make it happen.
The Department of Energy is spending money on this now. Duke Energy is spending huge amounts of money on this. So it's going to cost someone at some point. It's just a matter of when. Now we are going to jump straight from that into Junk in the Trunk. That is our new segment where things that might not be big enough for a full news story, but you should still know about. And we're going to start with a race in Paris where a Porsche GT3 raced a Lamborghini Gallardo through the streets of the City of Lights. Don't try this at home. We have a video. We can check it out. Next up, we have, what do we have?
We have the Covini 6-wheeled supercar, which is being unveiled this week at the Bologna, the Racing Professional Motor Show.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I think, I hope we have a little video of this also. It's a pretty interesting looking vehicle with two wheels in the front and then one in the rear.
Yeah, a six-wheel car. With an Audi engine, 450 horsepower, based on the 1976 Tyrrell car in Formula One. For low rolling resistance and low frontal resistance in the front.
This is interesting. No audio. Oh, okay.
So we had some video of it running around the track, but that's the Covini. They've been working on it for 32 years. It's named after the Federico Covini, I believe is his name. And, they say they're going to bring it out next year, I think it was. But it's very strange to have.
It is strange. It's fascinating why they want to use, two sets of wheels in the front.
It didn't do that well in Formula One, and I can't imagine it doing that well on the street either. But look out for it in a couple of years.
It's definitely distinct looking. You'll know what it is when you'll see one.
That's what supercar buyers want. They want distinct. Next up, Canada has its own supercar, which we didn't know about until recently, and it's even been in a Mentos commercial. It's called the HTT Plethore, and it's $450,000, 750 horsepower, just four wheels. But we've got a video of that as well. Let's check it out. And then finally, we have a light cycle.
Yeah, if you like the movie Tron, you can now buy your own light cycle for $55,000, although I think they've actually sold out on the ones they have available so far. But I think we have a little video of that right now. And it's really interesting. It has a twin Suzuki TLR 1000. The vehicle weighs 474 pounds. And it has optional Apple iPod docking station instead of gauges on it.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a good way to die, really. Like, it's neat. You know, I would love to have one in my house, but that looks like a great way, lying on the road on a 500-pound motorcycle. You know, I mean, almost.
Do you think it's an expensive piece of furniture, then, or sculpture?
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's fantastic to have, but my God, that looks like a great way to.
I imagine you'll see Jay Leno on one at the Rock Store one of these days soon.
Well,
I'm curious
I'm sure
to
Mr.
see.
Leno will be on it. That is our time for today. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to drop us a line at cars@thisweekend.com. Don't forget to Twitter us at TWICars. And we had this offered as a prize last week, but no one let us know what they thought of the new Lotus. So you don't have to follow us on Twitter, although we'd love it if you did. You can email us if that's your preferred method of communication. This is the new Lotus Esprit. We are giving it away. Let us know what you do or don't like about the car or the show, and the best answer wins this. Finally, Ustream.com. They handle all of our cloud computing for This Weekend Cars and for every show on the network. If you ever need cloud computing this week, Storm on Demand. Sorry, StormOnDemand.com. That's what I meant. They handle our cloud computing. So check them out at StormOnDemand.com, and you're all set. That's our time. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Jim, for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
Great being here. Thank you very much.
Studio.
Thank you.